At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sie. Of course, this is the Hour of Politics. Welcome, a pleasant welcome to this edition of our program here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We have a guest in studio. He is comfortably seated in the hot seat. Liberia decides its future few weeks from now. That is about 2 weeks from now. Liberia decides we will have to make a decision to choose a president. There is a Liberian citizen who happens to be an evangelist who has been so hesitant to get involved in Liberian politics because he has devoted himself to the service of God and the young people of Liberia. This time, he's now sitting on the fence. It's obvious he's into the politics. Why? What has changed? Our guest is Evangelist Blahyi, who many of you might know as Boakai. He is here as our guest. He has endorsed Vice President Joseph Boakai for president comes this October. What is going on this time in his head, for which he has gotten involved in a very, 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 I don't know, should I use the word progressive way, because he's out there, he's talking to people, he's doing some things that he has never done before when it comes to politics. But hey, he's here and he's seated. Let me welcome our guest, the evangelist, Joshua Blahyi. Evangelist, it's good to have you. Welcome. How you doing? How's the family?
Thank you. Thank you, brother. It's a blessing being back on Focus on Liberia. I count it an honor and a privilege. Thank you to your guests and everyone that make this show to continue up to this time.
We also want to say thank you for always honoring our invitation and coming to answer our questions. And we can't say thank you enough. You are here now, and you are here for a business. Folks, in cyberspace, we will be talking about his support for Joseph Boakai. He has endorsed him, by the way. So we want to talk about that endorsement. Why Joseph Boakai? There are other candidates in the race. What did he see? This is not Joseph Boakai's first time running. He was around and he was an adult and he paid attention at the time when Joseph Boakai ran the last time. But he did not endorse him. This time, he has endorsed him. This time, he's into politics. Why? There got to be a reason. That is what we want to know. Now, he is also now being called the rescue soldier, part of the rescue team of Joseph Boakai. Evangelist, let's get started here quickly. Our time is fast spent. I want to start with your support for Joseph Boakai. What motivated you? What drove you? What all went in your head? What all you took into consideration to make that decision? Given the fact that you have decided before that you will not get involved in politics, but this time you are saying, I will get involved. What happened? What changed?
Well, Anthony,
yes,
God created the whole world, and privilegedly, he chose man to decide for every creation that he created. Man is not the strongest being. Man is also not the most important creations on this earth. Every creations are carrying the same trademark made by God. So we all, the trees, the animals, the environment, the water bodies, we all created by God. So if it's a trademark, it's going to be called Made in Heaven by God. Made in Heaven by God. We were just privileged to decide the fate of every other creation. And when the Bible says creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God, because creation is in bondage by someone who put it in bondage, it is talking about creation is waiting for man's decide. Creation is waiting for man's decisions. So your decisions in life informs the directions creation will go. You are also privileged by law, by human organization. You are privileged to decide for posterity. You are privileged to decide for children or people who have not reached 18. And so voting is a decision that is not only benefiting your nation, is also benefiting your world, your environment, and your dispensation. So I have always voted, except, like you said, I have voted privately. And almost everybody I have voted for actually have never won election. And the reason is simple, because the people I vote for are not always popular. And I vote my conscience. I'll give you examples of the way I vote. If there is 50% in the race and all 50 of them are married and they are cheaters, I will do my investigations who cheat less. That is the one that have, from the one that have 20 girlfriends to the one that have only 3 girlfriends. Why we are deciding that? Because it is my duty to vote. So I'm supposed to decide, and then I will look among everybody and find the one most moral in my opinion, and I will vote for that one. So example, when the first election I ever took part in, I voted for Clayton Watterson. The second election I took part in, I voted for Kennedy Sandy. The third election I took part in, I voted for Kennedy Sandy. The fourth election I took part in, I voted for Joseph Nyimba Boakai. It was private. So I did my scrutinies and saw he was the most moral. When he was Honor Ellen, who is his boss, in my view, she was not as moral as Kennedy Sandy. So I voted Kennedy Sandy. Now in the race, presently, the most moral is Joseph Boakai again in my investigations. And this is how I do, because I was trained as a spiritist and I'm still continuing as a spiritist, only even though transition from dark spiritist to the lighting spiritist. And so my values are not the values of man. My values is the original code for value. When God created man, value was not wealth and strength. Value
Evangelist.
was obedience. Values were morals. And so in every spectrum, spiritually, my values is by good or by moral and immoral. And in the race presently, you can go to check it if you have the time, and we go values by values, you will see that Joseph Nyimba Boakai is tapping in value. In Bible days, example, you will find out that a sheep, one sheep that is without blemish is expensive. It can buy at least 17 sheep with blemishes. It's the same way today.
Can you hear me? I would rather like to follow up here if you can hear me. You said, in your personal opinion, Joseph Boakai is the most moral person of all the candidates that are running.
Yes.
I know this is your personal opinion, your personal assessment. I mean, what yardstick that got you to this point? What did you see about the other people that are less moral, for which you consider to be the most moral?
So this is my value. As I told you, I operate with spiritual values. For example, in Bible days, a sheep without blemish is expensive. It is able to buy at least 17 sheep with blemishes. Sheep or cattle were currency those days. So the sheep without blemish would buy 17 sheep with blemishes. One sheep, 1 year old sheep without blemish will buy 17 sheep without blemishes. 4 years sheep without blemish will buy 9 1-year sheep without blemish. So the 4 year sheep without blemish have outstand the temptations of this world, the thorns, the heights of this world. It was able to be preserved for 4 years without blemish, equal to the 4 sheep that is gone 1 year without blemish. They understand, they only spent 1 year temptations, and they are without blemish. And these values also count in nature and minerals. Or 1 carat diamond is far expensive than 7 pieces of diamonds that are points.
Evangelist?
A 5 carat diamond is expensive than 20 carat diamond that is 1 carat. So if you look at Joseph Boakai, he spent 40-something years in the public service, and nobody have had corruption values on him or corruption charges on him. Tewon Gonglo, also nobody have corruption evidence on him. But Tewon Gonglo, you will bear with me, he's not up to 30 years in public service. So if Joseph Boakai have gone this long without corruption in public service, his value is more than 10 people who have gone 20 years in public service. And all these things, like I said, they are spiritual values. It's not by the word standard. It is my personal training as a spiritist. I was trained as a witchcraft from the age of 7 to the age of 11. And my values to determine valuable things that will be sacrificed to the gods are different from the values that you will use. I could come in the family and want to sacrifice a child that is ugly compared to the children that are beautiful. I will use morals.
Evangelist?
Yeah.
So you accepted Jesus Christ immediately after our dark days, in which you play a significant role, something that you have publicly informed us about, confess, apologize, and ask for forgiveness, and thank you for doing that. You have been a follower of Jesus Christ. You have been in the kingdom of God as a servant of God. And now you have decided to support a political candidate. And you said your name now is Rescue Soldier. You were a soldier before. You became a man of God. Let's look at Nyombli Kanka Lawrence. She is Rescue Manda. Why you chose to be called Rescue Soldier instead of, say, Rescue Man of God or Rescue Brother? Don't you think this soldier thing, given your history, your role in our past, will bring out bad memories?
Well, it's certainly dawned. And that is why you see, even today, again, I'm called by you. And not only you, a lot of different mainstreams, media are calling me. It's frustrating, it's disappointing that like 16 years, I have worked with children from the street. And I have told you about it. I have told Spoon, who invited me once, about it, and told almost all the major streamlines media in Liberia that covered, that informed Liberians about things in Liberia, locally and internationally. Yeah. And it's strange that none of you have taken the time to say, Joshua, today this program is dedicated to your project. Can you go from room to room, show how those children sleep, show how those children eat, show how those children take bath, Joshua, how those children are being supported. So that's the word system. The word system have its own values, and it informs the definitions, the way they define things. And so the politics is the word. And so I must define myself according to the system that is existing.
And so Evangelist, if I may, thank you for the work you have been doing with young people. And I think you have pointed that you don't have knowledge of any media institution reaching out to you to show your work of working with young people, draw addicts, and trying to turn them into positive citizens. That has not been done. Is well noted. But the point I'm making, the question I'm trying to ask you here, in fact, if you look at the clothes you wore, the color red represent danger. All right, here you are. Your back is turned in this photo, Rescue Soldier. You did not choose a white shirt representing peace. You chose a red shirt, which is a symbol of danger and blood, and you are a man of God.
Let us say,
if you have the chance to rethink this decision of deciding to be called rescue soldier and using your red shirt, will you do it or will you change that?
No, I will not change it. I'm even on the show today in red.
I see that.
And it is intentional. And so, like I said, the world has its own value and they define things according to their perspective. But the red, when you're talking about rescue, the biggest rescue in creation is the rescue Jesus. And that rescue Jesus was possible by blood, by his blood on the cross of Calvary. And so the word will choose the red as the blood of destruction, destroying people. But in the red, I have chosen the red as the blood of Jesus. The rescue formula in the realm of the spirit is red. The red do not just represent destruction. The main meaning of red, learn it today, everyone listening to me, is sacrifice. The color red represents sacrifice. And this nation needs the intentional steps to be rescued. And if it needs intentional steps to be rescued, it needs intentional sacrifices to be rescued. And it's the sacrifice I am making. And because I know what I know, I'm not going to walk in darkness. I'm not going to walk with bodyguards behind me. I'm going to walk the same Evangelist Joshua Milton Blahyi, go to crusades, go to preach, go on conferences. And when I'm having the opportunity to talk to people about the rescue of this nation, I would tell them I would tell them about the rescue of this nation. And the rescue of this nation, whether you understand it or not, those of you listening to me, needs sacrifice. If you don't make this sacrifice consciously, or sacrifice is made against you already, and you need to sacrifice to rescue this country. And so, Mr. Boakai, rescue Nyombli Kanga may create this theme from their head, but I'm interpreting this theme from the spirit.
Evangelist?
Yes, sir.
So, as a servant of God who has devoted his time, is it now that you have not been able to find rescue from Jesus Christ, from God Almighty for Liberia? Because you have been the disciple of Jesus Christ. It appears to me now you have become a disciple of Joseph Boakai. You are a soldier in the field for him on his mission. Has the mission of Christ that you have been on to rescue Liberia failed you, and so you are turning to men? What are you doing here?
No, like I said, is the interpretation again of the word and the interpretation of God. They are two different. One day they went to Jesus and they showed him a coin that carries the head of Caesar. And Jesus said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar, and give unto God what is God. Then one day the people decided to vote for Saul against God. And Samuel got angry, and God called Samuel and said, Samuel, these people have will that I have given to them, and I have given them that will to decide. They have decided Saul. go and anoint Saul. So the system of the word and the system of God are two different systems. The both of them work for God. The Bible says all things were created by him and for him. And so my decision that I'm making to rescue Liberia is not based on Joseph Boakai. In fact, Joseph Boakai depends on God. The Bible says the government is on his shoulder.
Evangelist?
It's on his shoulder. And so they might use this statement.
Evangelist, if I may, it is also said that I think thou shalt not serve two masters, right? So don't you see yourself as serving two masters here, because you have been serving God, praying, or working with young people, using the gospel to bring them relief, praying for this nation, and now you have left that, or maybe on top of that, you are trying to help Joseph Boakai, and you have become a soldier. Are you not serving two masters?
I am not Joseph Boakai's soldier. I am a Nathan to Joseph Boakai, the Nathan to David. I am a Nathan
but
to
you are
Joseph.
a rescue soldier. Boakai is the one who has the rescue train, and you are a soldier.
Well, Boakai do not own the rescue team. The rescue train, Boakai is named number 1, yes. Jeremiah Kuhn is named number 2, yes. Nyobli Kanga is named rescue mother, yes. And actually, I don't know who gave them those names, but I gave myself this name. They did not appoint me rescue soldier. I called myself rescue soldier and put it on my back. Joseph Boakai, this mission is for Liberian people, and I am a Liberian, and I understand that the nation is in danger. I have been, in fact, just today, I posted a post the same way I corrected or demanded the government, the ruling party, to correct their mistakes. I have posted today openly that Joshua or Mr. Boakai should correct his mistake by whatever he was saying when he said there will be no Liberia if there is cheating. I corrected him. I told him that he cannot say that. And many people were asking, why did you come public if you can walk to Joseph Boakai anytime to correct him? I said, because he said the statement in the open. And when you say those statements in the open, something goes in the realm of the spirit. And until they are confronted openly, you do not touch them. And so my position over this nation is one of the watches over this nation. And I see that this nation is going into destruction in the hands of this government. And so I'm doing everything to correct it, whatever it is.
So, Evangelist,
I am not a soldier to Joseph Boakai. I am soldier of rescue.
Evangelist, so
yes, sir.
Are you sure that the relief that we need as a country can be obtained with Joseph Boakai?
Come again?
Do you think the relief that we need as a nation can be obtained with Joseph Boakai?
Definitely. It's going to be the starting point of the relief of this country. Let me tell you how spells.
So what do you see? What do you see from a possible Joseph Boakai government that no other government has been able to offer us?
So that's how spells operate. I told you again, my values are spiritual. If and when Liberian is able to look at a government that was so popular in the eyes of the people, so popular, and tell that government, for this action of yours, even though we trusted you, we will change you at one turn. It's going to bring a warning to anyone who's going to take over from the most popular, one of the most popular Liberian. I went to Cameroon and I told the people I'm from Liberia. They never knew Liberia until I said Josh Weah. I went to Sokoto in Nigeria. They never knew what Liberia was until I said Josh Weah. The man, the single most popular Liberian, was changed by on one turn because of his careless handling of the nation.
But that
Anyone who get there,
Ambassador,
anyone
that
who
has not
get,
been done yet.
I'm coming. Anyone who get there, anyone who get there will be careful. And the most moral amongst everyone in line is Joseph Boakai.
Evangelist, there are issues in Liberia. One man can solve the issues in Liberia. All the people that have become president before, they fail. You never supported any of them publicly, if I'm not mistaken. But this time you are supporting Joseph.
You are right.
Okay. So you are a spiritual person, as you said. Do you see that Joseph Boakai going to win or not? What do you see?
Well, I'm actually not God, and I cannot. And this is not prophecy. If it was prophecy that is given to me to see Joseph Boakai, I would have said it. But I'm seeing how Liberians are hurt. Unfortunately, most of them do not know where their hurts come from. But God has shown me. I am in the position to know where the ills are coming from. And so I'm pointing out the ills. It is left with Liberian to accept it. Listen, 1997, there was a special election in this country. And God sent me to warn Liberian. I saw the aids and I hosted a press conference. I could not even speak English fluently. I have that document. I will send it to you, and I'm trying to work on it to put it out there. Radio Monrovia was the lead station. BBC was there, CNN was there. At that time, when they said General Bodneke, Gada, everybody go there. So all the station was at City Hall. And I told them if Liberian have voted a war law, there were 3 war laws in the race. It was Mr. Taylor, it was Alhaji Kromah, it was George Bole. And God said, anyone who voted a war law, Liberia will go into 25 years of challenge. The tapes are still there. Go on YouTube and say 1997 General Bodneke conference. You will see, you will hear me, you will hear the questions and answer. And Liberian did not listen. From 1997 to last year is 25 years. Liberia is almost like Liberia still in war. And it's not because of intelligence, it's not because of education. The world is controlled by spirits. And spiritual people sees far ahead of even educated people. And so when I saw that, even there was the head of the Council of Churches. At that time, he was Reverend Stephen Mui. He called me and tried to query me on that pronouncement that I made. But if you look at Liberia from 1997 to now, it's 25 years that have gone. And so I am showing Liberians again the ills and I must pronounce it. And if they refuse and choose wrongly, they will realize if what I'm saying is lie or not. And that's how God operates, because God gave everybody the will. So there is no prophetic design that, oh, God is going to make Joseph Boakai president at all costs. But I'm telling you from my experience and the realm of the spirit, Joseph Boakai is the good luck charm, as you will put it, for the world to understand it, that will change the values of immorality to the value of morality over the country.
So, Evangelist, so in the event where Joseph Boakai is not successful, just as he wasn't, are you suggesting that we will still be in a difficult place as a country?
Definitely.
You want to believe that you think no other person can lead this country better than Joseph Boakai?
Now, first of all, if you look at the human statistic, not the spiritual statistic, none of the human instrument in the race, if you look at will, you will see it's only 2%. And the 2% is now represented by light and darkness. The present government is leading darkness. Joseph Boakai is leading light, good and bad. The present government is representing bad. Joseph Boakai is representing good. He's the captain of morals in the race. So why would you want to waste your time to select a lesser rank of moral to confront a higher rank of evil or immorality? So it's just logical to compare a higher rank of good to confront a higher rank of evil, a higher rank of positive to confront the higher rank of negative.
So, Evangelist, in essence, you are saying Cummings, Tiawon Gonglo, Sarah Beslo Yanti, Dr. Clarence Moniba, all these people, they stand no chance whatsoever, and we shouldn't waste our time on them and that 2% in this race. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yes, from the survey, from the human survey, from analysis that even God himself is interested in. When the people saw, God understood the will of the people. God supported the will of the people, even though he told them what to expect in people. But he also told Samuel, the election commission at the time, he said the people have chosen. And I also want you to know that Saul was not the only one in the race at the time. There were others who went to vow for that position, but he was the tallest amongst all. His shoulder was higher than every other shoulder. And you see, so these things, they are in scripture for us to follow as a manual for life. Unfortunately, the world do not, with all of their sophistications and their intelligence, well, the Bible said it. He said these things are hidden from the noble and the intelligent, but they are revealed to babies. But however, we the babies will try to interpret it, and if they hear us, fine. If they don't hear us, fine. And we are saying, if God respected the will of the people by choosing the tallest amongst the people who were contesting, men were questioning, but the result will be clear. If Liberian decide to divide the votes of goods between Joseph Boakai, Alexander Cummings, Clarence Moliba, Tiawon Gonglo, if they decide to divide the votes of good, and good have 51%, you will discover that the 51% will reduce to 10%, 4%, 9%, 3%, while evil will remain 49%, which will show a chance for evil to win. Then good time will come, the hearts of goods will fail and they will become corrupted because they will see that evil is leading. They will not be able to come again to group as one, and they will join evil, and evil will go to above 51%. And so I am telling Liberian people that there are a lot of goods, but the highest good should be put front to confront the highest evil.
Evangelist, you said
Yes,
that you don't have any prophecy from God that tells you Boakai will win. You don't have that.
Yeah.
You said you are looking at the people.
Yes.
That the people are looking in his direction.
Yes.
Is that the only motivation for your decision to support him?
No, it's not my only motivation. It's not my only motivation. I supported him 2017.
Okay.
The reason I have come public because there was a public declarations, an enchantment in the realm of the spirit against my effort and the future of this country.
So talking about the future of this country, Evangelist, there are times the majority can be wrong. You are a spiritual person. Have you done your assessment to see whether or not the majority, as you see it, might be in error here, and you, the spiritual person, must save this country? It seems to be you are just following the majority. Is that not what it is?
No, I'm not following I'm not following the majority. I'm supporting the majority.
The majority is in the right here. Are they not on the wrong path? Are they not in error?
The majority is in the right this time.
So what happens if JNB does not win? Because you said he's the appropriate person at this time, or that, and then with him, Liberia will get the relief that it needs. Other than that, we may not get that relief. What will happen if he does not win?
Well, actually, if Joseph Boakai don't win, it's Josh Manuel that will win.
How you know that?
And when Josh Manuel win, the country will continue in this under this dark spiritual cloud.
When Boakai wins, Boakai will be president, just as we are is president today. Many have hope in him, just as you are hoping in Boakai. That there is no guarantee that we will have a better government. Will you share responsibility?
Well, if there is no guarantee that we will have a better government, but there will be a guarantee that the people's powers have returned to the people. It would be a historic, serious history that the country have set, that the leader who went wrong, no matter the fairy tales that no African government or no Liberian government can lose on first time, it will be, that will be broken. The fact that we elect someone, gave him a popular demand, and he failed us, and we change him, it will be a brand new sheet spread on the ground.
Evangelist, do you trust politicians?
Somebody just called me to.
So you didn't hear me?
And
all right, folks, bear with us there. He received a call, and that just compromised his audio or volume there. And so I'm sure he did not hear me. Bear with us. We are in conversation with Evangelist Joshua Blahyi, former, Boakai, as we all knew him. He has endorsed Vice President Joseph Boakai for president, and he has adopted the name rescue soldier. He is a rescue soldier and he is in a red shirt, and he is also part of a campaign called Don't Try It. And when he returns, we will talk about that campaign, Do Not Try It or Don't Try It. What does that mean? Where did that come from? What is the goal of this campaign? What do they fear? Is somebody up to something for which they are giving that warning that don't try it? Who is that person that might be up to something? And with this campaign, Don't Try It, will they get what they fear? Or would they prevent what they fear for which they have launched this campaign called Do Not Try It? If you are just joining on, this is Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony C. Of course, this is the hour of politics. And again, we are in conversation with Evangelist Joshua Blahyi, the bald naked, as most of you know him. Here is bald naked in this picture, standing there with his back turned. He is now part of the rescue train. Yeah, in there also in red. And the writing on the shirt there says, Don't Try It. And as you can see, he's also in the red here with his back turned, rescue soldier. And he has a banner here, and we'll talk about it. The rescue team, Proud Liberian Against Drugs Abuse. And he will talk about that as well. It's good to have you back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me progress here. So a campaign is ongoing, and you are part of that campaign, and it's named Don't Try It. Why is this campaign going on? Don't try it.
Well, like I said, in the realm of the spirit, you watch as a spiritual watcher. You watch for positive movement and encourage that positive movement and take that, even they call it, some people say prophetic slip, like when they told Jesus, when they crowned him and said King of the Jews, they thought they were making mockery, but that was a prophetic slip. And so we prophetic people put prophetic declarations and actions and give it spiritual value. Just 3 months ago, 3 to 4 months ago, a revelation of arms that was found in the pot was said to be for Mr. Koji. And with my evaluation, there are ex-generals, there are criminals who I know I have worked with, were in South Beach, and those people are parading the streets, free men working with Major Koji.
Do you have
and these things,
evidence to
and
this?
these things, and these are coming, and these things were highlighted, and there were revelations that the police director, the justice minister, is afraid of him for his gangster's posture. And then I heard someone say, no one should try our vote. There is a campaign they are coming up with to tell the ruling establishment to not tamper with their vote. It needs, that is physical declaration. It needs prophetic backing. And so I'm wearing it on my shirt to pronounce to the spirit of violence that Liberia is tired with violence and there should be no violence. Just how I'm carrying the rescue on my back to pronounce rescue in the realm of the spirit and pronouncing non-violent in our election. So we are saying, do not violate the will of the people in our elections.
So why is it that you heard that these individuals have planned to try? What specifically?
Rigging the elections.
And you think the
And up to now,
is credible?
The Senate called the election commission, and she promised to give out the voter roll by a particular time, and up to now they have not given it. This is a crucial election, a very crucial election. And so that should be announced in the realm of the spirit. Let me tell you how evil work. Evil work on the platform of fear projection. Evil is in every way weaker, lazier.
And why don't you pray against this evil, man of God, instead of coming, using physical strength and tough talking as well?
Why don't I do what?
Why don't you pray against the evil that you see and fear and call on Comrade Jesus to intervene, but you are now physically present and calling yourself rescue soldier? Why don't
so
you
when Jesus, evil started existing since the Garden of Eden, when they deceived man, and God have used spiritual means over and over, opened the Red Sea, did everything. Evil only had a bigger competitor when the physical sacrifice happened. The physical sacrifice in Jesus is the only instrument that have confronted evil, because it have brought hope to the world. The world could choose it.
In this case, prayer would not help Liberia.
No, prayers without physical declarations, without declarations and physical sacrifices, it will not be effective. These things are spiritual rules, and we understand them. All of those things that the medicine man would
sacrifice. You continue to mention sacrifices. What are the sacrifices you think that are needed for this country? Have we not sacrificed or done sacrifices enough to save this country? Do we still need more sacrifices?
Yes, sacrifices. Like me, I did a lot of sacrifices before 1996, and they were all wrong sacrifice. So even the sacrifice in the temple, there were some that were rejected to prove that they are not right sacrifices. So sacrifices have wrong ones and they have right ones. So yes, the right sacrifices have not been taken. Let me give you an example. Moja, you know who they are? You heard about them?
Yeah, I heard about Movement for Justice in Africa, Moja.
Okay. Those tough talking guys were making effective, powerful sacrifices. When Doe killed Tolbert, if those guys have taken the right sacrifice, Liberia would have sat right by now. They took the wrong sacrifice. After they were released from jail, when Doe killed Tolbert, if those guys were going to wake up and say, look, Mr. President, CRC, well, this is the way you choose. Thank you for saving our life. But this is not our way of sacrifice. So sorry, we don't think we can work in this government. We'll advise you, choose your military men and what have you, and see how you can turn over this country, to civilian rule. Maybe they were going to kill them. Maybe some of them were going to run away and survive. But they would have spelled out positive sacrifice and what they stood for. When Mr. Taylor came in the name of freeing Liberia, if these politicians, these same advocates, would have done the same thing, well, thank God you came to town and what have you, but you brought government from across there, maybe you and this government can continue and think. So sacrifices have positive steps and negative steps. Liberia have always been taking negative sacrifice. And we, no matter how small it looks like, we decided to take this. Yeah.
Evangelist, you have injected yourself in our politics. And this is why we call you here to talk politics. But throughout this conversation is about spiritual. If you want to really keep to the spiritual work that you have been doing, and I think you should keep to it, because throughout the interview, you're just talking about spirit. Do you want to be part of the politics, or do you really want to stick to what you have been doing?
But that's what I'm doing. You people interpreting it politics. And I told you the values of the world. That's how I started my conversation with you. A difference from the values of the spirit. And so I'm telling you that God rules in the affairs of man. But God's action will be either misinterpreted or misunderstood by the affairs of the world. When Jesus came, he came as a spiritual sacrifice. What did the world call him? Even some of his own, they thought he was coming to remove the physical government for him to be president or for him to be king. And so you will continue interpreting my action.
So evangelist,
as not spiritual, but my action is spiritual. Yeah.
When Jesus Christ came, I believe he had a plan to save mankind.
Yeah.
He implemented his plan accordingly. You are supporting Joseph Boakai. What are his plans? Have you seen his plan? Do you know some of his plan?
Well, if you want me to talk about Joseph Boakai personally, I will tell you that there are two persons in the whole politics that have supported my project. The highest single supporter to my project is Mary Broad. So Mary Broad believe in this project. The second highest supporter to my project is Joseph Nyema Boakai. Joseph Nyema Boakai is the one who helped me to make 52 hectares of farm. So with his qualification,
influence your decision to support him today?
No, he did it. He did it before 2017. This man sent experts to my farm. This man has supported my project with food before 2017. And 2017 came, nobody saw me doing what I'm doing now.
So you think Joseph Boakai will do a better job on the economy? Now we have drug crisis in the country. You have been doing a much better job than even Joseph Boakai. Can you trust Joseph Boakai to fight drugs in Liberia and rehabilitate the young people?
Yes, I trust the Liberian people. When the Liberian people give Joseph Boakai the mandate, and they take the mandate in their hands and give it to Joseph Boakai, if he don't do well, they will take it from him to give it to someone else.
You don't have mandate from the Liberian people, and you are working with young people who are abusing drugs, and you are helping them. Does one need mandate to do that?
But I'm telling you now, the reason that Joseph Boakai worked with me or helped me is because he saw me working with the young people. Joseph Boakai, do you know what it means? His wife have come and cook for the young people in that fence. Joseph Boakai have personally come and counsel them and talk to them and encourage them, not one time, not two times, not three times, repeatedly. They are even giving job on his farm. They were the one who was trained He brought people to train them to use agriculture instruments, the tractors and all those things. And they work on his farm as they were working on my farm in Sino. So I'm telling you, but that is not what motivated this, because if it had motivated this, then 2017, I was going to be the same thing with Joseph Boakai.
So you are an advocate for the War Crimes Court. Do you trust? First of all, let me ask you, have you sat with Joseph Boakai to talk to him? Have you expressed to him the things you want to see? Or did you just decide that, well, I'm just going to support this man? Because I'm sure there are some things you have interest in as a Liberian, like the War Crimes Court, for example. Can you trust Joseph Boakai on the War Crimes Court?
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, he have insisted on that. And every time I go as an advocate, he will call me and tell me thank you. And he encouraged me. And he said, a man word, a man consistent word, define them. And he always encouraged me. A day, 2016, I was advocating. I was advocating for War Crime Court.
Evangelist,
and Joseph,
may I
come again?
I said, may I interrupt you, please? Yeah,
go ahead.
This is important. Two presidents now, that's Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and George Weah. During their terms, Liberians have wanted the War Crimes Court. They too would not give all the War Crimes Court. One of the main reasons has been because Prince Johnson supported those two presidents. Prince Johnson helped to elect them. Prince Johnson is helping Joseph Boakai. Why should we believe that Joseph Boakai will give a War Crimes Court when he should have gotten that help from Prince Johnson? Ellen got it, we got it. They never gave us the War Crimes Court.
So when you want to go back to history, when Prince Johnson was supporting Madam Ellen Sirleaf Johnson, there was no time that she promised War Crime Court. When Prince Johnson was supporting
Liberians have always demanded a War Crime Court from their leaders.
So yes, but that was not their promise. But even listen to Joseph Boakai campaign statement.
They have come to serve the people, and the people are saying we need a War Crime Court. They should be able to listen to the people.
So definitely, Joseph Boakai suppose, and I see that he have no reason not to bring the will of the people. If he refuses, the people will vote him out again.
We don't have to be changing precedents to get a one War Crime Court, because it's almost like kicking the can down the road. And you know the herd that continue to go around, because we cannot condone that as a people. That all the president will not give out the War Crime Court, who will change and bring it up. When are we ever going to get this? When are we ever going to get to closure? We need a president who will say, this is what I'm going to do, and going to do it.
Well, I trust Joseph Boakai that he's going to bring whatever he promised. And he has promised. His vice presidential candidate have said openly that the War Crime Court is what the Liberian people want. He's going to bring it.
And yet
it was shocking.
And yet he's working with people accused of being war. He's working with them.
Listen. Prince Johnson is one man. Joshua Milton Blahyi, is one man. Even in my family, I think Mr. Johnson, no matter how he support any government, he should understand that the War Crime Court, for us answering to our past, is the hope for this country. Right. And one of the reasons why I'm frustrated, I was frustrated recently in the Liberian people when they started margin conversation with between Prince Johnson and myself. Prince Johnson and myself are on two parallel journey. Prince Johnson, even into politics, I believe, as a senator, I believe is 100% wrong. And I wish that even this time, he will not win to be senator in his county.
So, Evangelist, if it is wrong that Senator Johnson is serving as an elected official in our country, don't you also see it as wrong that he is helping to elect others to become elected officials in our country?
No, Prince Johnson is a Liberian. He has the right to add his choice. Like I have my right to add my choice, like you have your right to add your choice. David was king.
He does not have the right to become senator, and because you said that is wrong.
Yes, he do not have it because he do not have the moral history for being senator. Those positions are sacred positions. You cannot take the lives of people and enter sacred office like God told David. You cannot. You can do all things.
The life of people. The guy who takes away the life of people has the right to decide for us who becomes president, right?
No, I don't think he decides for people. He encourages people. He tells people vote this way. It is people decide for themselves. They decide to follow him or not follow him. There are positions. Listen, there are clear positions. David was doing a lot of good things, and God called him the man after my heart. He wanted to build a sacred sanctuary for God. God said, no, your hands are stained. You cannot build me a house. Your son should do it. So we need to understand these things. You cannot separate these things from spiritual navigation. And the spiritual navigation, Prince Johnson have the right to say this man is okay, that man is okay. You have the right to choose it. But Prince Johnson, being a morally challenged person, should not go into sacred office. That has been my point of view from the time I understood this up to now, and it will never change. People have come to me, community come to me to be representative, to be senator, to petition me, and I tell them the same thing. I do not have the moral history to be in sacred office.
Thank you. And Evangelist, let's talk about corruption. You live in Liberia. You've seen it firsthand. You might have heard deeper stories about it, maybe than I do, given your role you played in our society. The fight against corruption has always been a failure with nearly every president. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, some will agree, seems to be tougher than Joseph Boakai. She admitted that the corruption became a vampire, even though she had described it as enemy number one. Boakai was the second captain in the command. My question is, do you trust Joseph Boakai will succeed in the fight against corruption? Let me end my question. Now, Joseph Boakai will succeed in the fight against corruption where Ellen Johnson Sirleaf failed? If yes, what are the things you know that Boakai will do that will make him to be successful?
Okay, Ellen Sirleaf Johnson is not tougher than Joseph Boakai. Tough are relative. So Joseph Boakai is stronger than Ellen. Ellen and Joseph Boakai work in the same government. There are fingers pointed to Ellen for corruption, and in that same government, no finger points to Joseph Boakai for corruption. No evidence against him for corruption. Ellen herself, Joseph Boakai's son, wanted him to recommend for him to marry her. Joseph Boakai refused. Ellen's son dictated to her, all her children, dictated to her, and she was not strong enough to resist the pressure they put on her. Joseph Boakai resisted pressure from his children. What level of strength do you want him to show? Joseph Boakai was tempted as Ellen was tempted. Joseph Boakai was pressured by his family as Ellen was pressured by her family. Ellen bowed to the pressure of her family. Joseph Boakai did not bow to the pressure of his family. Joseph Boakai children, sometime out of frustration, blame him that what is the evidence of your being in government all this time? Look at our life. What do we have to show? And Joseph Boakai stood those pressure.
Thank you, Evangelist. I don't know. Maybe you are looking at corruption in a different way. And sometimes people try to define it depending on the situation, right? And you are saying no evidence of any corruption pointing at Joseph Boakai. I too don't have any evidence. But this is what I know. When a poor government appropriate a budget signed by the vice president of Liberia, this time Joseph Boakai, that gives his office more money than his own county. One man office getting more money than his county he comes from. Somebody maintain that is corruption. Do you not see it that way?
Well, so that's why I'm saying, which one of the Kennedy in the race that did not work in the past government? None of them.
Are you agreeing that he's corrupt? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, he's not corrupt. I'm not saying he's corrupt. Okay. They all work in a system that was corrupt.
So why there was no Joseph Boakai resist? Like you said, he resisted temptation. He did not bow down to pressure as Ellen did. He was given more money for his office as vice president than his county. He accepted. Not only did he accept it, he signed the budget, making it legal.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a general policy. It is a general policy. His signature is not the final on that in that budget. One. Well, it is the policy that need to be changed because in this identical time, the past region, how? Well, if you look in the listing of our discussions, like you said, my person here, and as I told you, is broadly spiritual, and that's what I'm focusing on. And I'm telling you, in the race today, amongst all the people that are there, the most appropriate person to change this government for Liberia to take a better trend is Joseph Boakai. And so I'm not saying, if you look at my analysis, I'm not saying he's righteous.
I know, and you even went as far as putting him higher than Tiawon Gonglo when it comes to accountability. There is an established and known fact that Tiawon Gonglo, when he served in government, for each time he traveled and was given government per diem, hotel, and anything else, and whenever there was money left out, he will return the money. We have not heard that about Joseph Boakai traveling and giving excess amount of money. Will not use all the money and say, no, this money here belongs to the people. It's too much. Let me return some. But yet you think Joseph Boakai is more moral compared to Tiawan Gonglo. So how do you square that?
Okay, so Joseph Boakai is not, I don't think he told everybody all of his movement, traveling and returning. But Joseph Boakai was leaving government. The presidents of the office of the vice president gave detailed account to the turning over president and left far more unexpected amount in the covers and told the present vice president.
And you know this for a fact? And you know this for a fact?
Yes.
Okay.
And he told the present vice president that this office owed no one. There is no debt on this office. I know this is for the fact.
Okay.
But my mention with Joseph Boakai and Tiawan Gonglo is the ship without blemish for 4 years is expensive than the ship without blemish for 1 year, because the ship without blemish stand the pressure and the temptation of this word for 4 years, and the ship without blemish for 1 year stands the temptation of the word for only 1 year. So Tiawan Gonglo profile of clean from corruption, and everyone in the race profile clean from corruption will be fulfilled if they have said equal time with him, like him, without corruption. So like I said, my values are of the spirit. Somebody worked more than 40 years in government and you cannot find an evidence besides romance, besides lies. You can find actual evidence of his corruption. And somebody worked 30 years, let's say 30 years in government without corruption, without evidence of their corruptions. The one 40 years without evidence of corruption is more moral than the one 30 years without corruption. Period.
All right. Let me see if I can put us on strength here, spiritually, maybe scripturally, I should say. I think there is a saying in the Bible that for the lack of knowledge, my people perish. It's a wisdom of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge.
With the lack of knowledge. No, so my interpretation here is that to be a leader, you must be a visionary. And I think Liberia needs more of a robust visionary leader. Somebody who is in command, who has deeper understanding of things going around, who knows what to do on day one and how to do it. The world we live in today, you must be connected. I always try to give the football example. There's a guy called Pep Guardiola. He coached Barcelona and he had a huge success. And he coached so many teams, and now he with Manchester, he won the Champions League. He has a history of success. He's a great coach. So Manchester City, since 1881, won the Champions League for the first time in his history. The team Manchester City went after him because they knew his track record of producing results, bringing championships. What history got Boakai, for which you, as a man of God, devoted to moving the country in the right direction, telling us that Boakai is the one? What are you looking at? What has Boakai done that you have seen, that you are betting on to he done XYZ so I can trust him? What has he done?
I'm looking at Boakai's morals. That's what a leader needs, morals. Boakai is married 50 plus years now to one woman. Boakai worked 40 plus years Nobody have stolen record for him. Everything I just felt to say is what a leader needs. When God out there about leaders, he looking for a pure person. He's looking for someone who stands out morally. That is the actual value. Now, if you look at when he worked in other ministries and agency, the time of his, when he headed those places, there were records that he held those places in the benefit or to the benefit of the people.
One of those places is the group of 77.
My personal.
I was saying one of those places.
Group of 72nd?
Yeah, that he has some kind of a supervisory role when he was vice president, then having to be the group of 72nd. Is it 72nd or 77? I think it's 77.
Yeah, group of 77. Group of 72nd. They disabled people.
Yeah. So the history is that place did not do well when Boakai had some supervision.
That place did well. That place is just politics. That place did well more than any other government. Any other government during the time of Boakai's ruled over it. The place they were, you know, the disabled people are in life are one of the complicated people. So people take advantages of them.
What kind of improvements were done to the facility that you know of?
That place was almost a dump pad. I personally was hired by Boakai to go to renovate a place there, a home there. The way I met it and the way it was and the way she left it, the way she met it and the way she left it there is no comparison. That's why I said,
you think that was good enough? Because the thing is that it's like the old man is sleeping on a mat, and somebody came and said, "Well, old man, instead of this mat here, you know, let me just relieve my mattress, but let the mattress be on the ground." And then the old man will celebrate. You think that is good enough for the old man? Just the mattress on the ground?
That was better than the mat. That was better. Then somebody else come there. Instead of now saying, let me buy a bed, they take out the mattress and they put the mat back. Then how do you want to compare that now? Why will you want to bring that, you know, say, and honor Joseph Boakai or supervision that did not do well? If somebody was on the mat and somebody came, they take the mat from there and put mattress there. Then another person come and they say, well, the mattress here is old now, so let's go back to the old mat. Then he say, let's put it on bed or even change the mattress. Go look at the place now. I went there this few days. So, human being, look, let me tell you something. There is something in the realm of the spirit that I am fighting. This country have been programmed to accept everything negative. Look how intelligent this program of yours is. That I always praise. I still follow Kawu on her historic or her historical presentation. I'm using some of her, doing research to complete my book called The Freedom Spirit. And all of those things. Watch the views sometime here and watch the view on other shows that only insulting or talking negative things and what have you. So the country is attracted to negative things and they praise negative things than positive things. And we should change that. We, the spiritual eyes of this country, should praise the positive things, because those things you see, the people was announcing, you kill my man, you kill my pa, I will vote for you. People think it's just slogan. It's not slogan. It's a spiritual pronouncement to accept evil. You know book, you don't know book, I will vote for you. People think it was just enchantment. It was just slogan. It's not slogan. It's an enchantment. to accept or non-effort over effort. Now people say we want Kush, we want Kush. People think it's just slogan. It's not slogan. It's a spiritual pronouncement. There is no comparison ever to except the time they build that building first, called where the group of 72nd where people are. But from that time, the people misused that building themselves until Mother Boakai came and started insisting, fighting with them to clean the place and leave it the way it was until this government came down and gone back to the same, almost like, I would not want to say, use the word nastiness.
And
so
finally,
how can you
go ahead and your thoughts there, please?
So how can anyone try to compare this? His supervisions over that is super compared to any other supervisions over the group of 72nd.
So Mr. Boakai of recent made a major statement that I remember very well. He said, when elected, within 90 days, no car in Liberia will get stuck in a month, in 90 days. Mr. Boakai and Mana Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had 12 years they ruled Liberia. Cars got stuck in a mud all the time throughout that 12 years. We have another government that the president claims to be Barrow medicine. Cars are getting stuck in the mud every time. We're talking about a little over 5 years now, it's still happening. But Mr. Boakai is telling us in 90 days, that which he and Ellen could not do in 12 years, he would do it in 90 days. No car will get stuck in the mud. Do you really believe that he can make it happen?
When he was asked to explain that, he explained it. And from his explanation, I see it so possible. When his explanation is he will make sure that the public work be regionalized. And once the public work is regionalized, instead of giving one ministry in Monrovia 100,000, he divides the 100,000 by 15 to the different counties and say this small area is for you. Make sure this role is maintained and managed. From that explanation, any second grade student can see it. You know, when Onmill were here, Onmill had their supply that they used to carry to the southeast and think. One day, Onmill car did not hitch. Their supply did not hitch. First of all, they got the right car. Then they also went to the major spots that were having problem. They were assigned a machine there.
No car ever got stuck in the mud when they were in Liberia?
I'm telling you, Ome had something called Supreme, the cars they were using of 8-wheel drive. Number two, besides it, to the major roads, those guys called Bangladesh were assigned. Every time the rainy season getting bad, the Bangladesh will move with a crane and they will move with instruments to fix to anywhere the road spoiling. They fix it. When it won't fix, they go to another place. So with that all-mail strategy that was just for their own movement, if a whole government employed that strategy, I'm sure that in 90 days, it's possible. Because once the budget cross and they're able to provide Sano budget, they provide River Sales budget, they provide Grand Bassa budget for maintaining the road, and everywhere in Grand Bassa Sport, the Grand Bassa County and public work is responsible to go fix that road. Everywhere the road sport in River Sales, the River Sales Authority responsible to go fix that road. From that explanation, any Promantu children can know that where the man know what he's saying.
Something as easy as maintaining, renovating our high school just in Monrovia in 12 years' time was even a problem. And you tell me that you really believe that in 90 days, and nowhere in Liberia a car will get stuck because public work will be regionalized and it'll be giving money and all the tools, and you believe that in 90 days. Anyway, we have to leave it. That's why you believe. Folks,
So, so let me tell you how powerful, how government become powerful. Government become powerful from being reliable, from being trusted. Every government, including the American government, when you say you want this, you want credit this, if you don't have the credibility, nobody will credit you. So when you are trustworthy, all those things are possible. And if you decide to do it, you see, when people talking, they said, 12 years, Joseph Boakai and Ellen, and they want to leave out Josh Weah, they want to leave out Tewa Gonglo, they want to leave out. You see, you should say 12 years, Ellen, Gonglo, Josh Weah, Joseph Boakai, they were not able. They were not able to do this. So when you're talking about Ellen, and you want to mention Joseph Boakai, it's also good to mention Josh Weah, mention Tewon Gonglo, mention even Cummings, because he was in government. He was in Ellen's government.
We are talking precedents yet, my friend. My final question to you now is, this election is happening soon, and Liberians are going to make a decision. Mr. Boakai is in the race and you are supporting him. You said you don't have a proper prophecies yet from God that tells you whether he will win or he will not win. What is one thing that will cause Boakai to lose?
The only thing that will cause the first thing that will cause Boakai to lose, if the people refuse to look at all of the signs of death and destruction that is over the country. The second thing, you want one thing, so I gave you the one thing.
And so what is that one thing that will make him to win, if he will win?
The people's decision.
Joshua Milton Blahyi, former Bob Naked, now rescue soldier, is our guest. Evangelist, we want to say thank you for always coming and sitting in the hard seat and taking the questions. But my man, you went too spiritual on me today. I thought you came to talk politics, but it was good. You are a spiritual person, and you have to be in your area. Everybody get their area. I enjoyed the conversation. Your departing comments. You are supporting somebody for president. Liberians are anxious for change. We all agree the conditions of our people are very bad. You have a side now, so I know you're going to sing a Kumaya for your side, but that's your right to do so. Look in the camera and talk to Liberians. Your final word. Why should we or Liberians support Joseph Boakai and not any other person? And why is Joseph Boakai the alternative at this time? Your final words.
Well, like you said, I was in my area. David had the opportunity to challenge Goliath, and Saul tried to give him different weapon. And he told Saul, I'm not used to that. My weapon is the sling. So every man should stay with the tools they are used to. I was trained as a spiritist, as a witchcraft from the age of 4 to from the age of 7 to the age of 11. I worked 14 years as a witchcraft. I got converted 1996 and have never done any other work besides the spiritual work. So that is my word, and that is what I master. Liberia, this election is between light and darkness, or lights and darknesses But the biggest darkness is the ruling establishment. Examples by the drug, the violence of extrajudicial killings, arms, crimes, all over the place. And people talking about there is no political prisoners, but we have political murders. Imagine 3 children left their house to go work for one man, and there is no closures to that story. Nobody know if they actually died or they are alive. There is no evidence. Nobody has seen their body. And that suspect is still working free today. There is no time violence have been backed and protected like this time. Even Charles Taylor time, the war, Honor Roosevelt Johnson, the killings we used to do were not in his face. There were soldiers that were murdered for foolish killing during the war. The Prince Johnson you talk about executed his soldiers for foolish killing and foolish looting. Charles Taylor executed his soldiers for foolish killings and foolish lootings. This government have executed or persecuted no one on the book for foolish actions. Drug is a non-bailable crime now. Every non-bailable crime, the suspect should be arrested for 2 reasons. If they lie on him as a suspect, because it is gross, somebody could kill him for it. If somebody died now and they say, I don't want to kill the person, the reason the government should hold me right away is because the person family could be angry and kill me, even if I am not the one who killed the person once I am accused. The number 2 thing, if I am the one who did it, they should hold me because I could do it again or run away. So when a crime is non-bailable, rape, murder, drugs, when the person is accused, they should be apprehended. They should be held. The 3 men who disappeared in the country, by that time, drugs was non-bailable. I mean, drugs was bailable offense. Now, drug is non-bailable. Drug is caught to the airport, is caught to the borders, and names accused have been called. No one is arrested. It's an evidence of this government not able to protect you. Arms are shown to the borders. This government is not able to arrest anyone on that. Arms came to the free port. This government have no one on custody for that. It's an evidence that they are not able to protect you. Worst of all, I have worked with drugs for many years. I used to go on the international waters with killers and carry gold and diamond to the Mexican ships, like every other warring faction, to bring arms and drugs. And I know what drugs did to young people. I know what drugs is doing now. There is no drugs that have the kind of effects of the present drugs that is running all around the world. The one in America, the one in Mexico, the one in West Africa. The one now in West Africa is called Kush. It is arrested like a poison to kill young people, and nobody is under custody for that. It's gross darkness that is hanging over the country. And there are many lights against this darkness, but the biggest light that is shining is Joseph Boakai. Liberians, do your future posterity a favor. Redeem yourself from all the accusations that Liberians are lazy people, Liberians are weak-minded people. Redeem yourself from it and save this country. Rescue this nation from the hands of this government by voting in the easiest way out to this nation, who is Vice President Joseph Nyeman Boakai. And Honorable Boakai, I want you to know that the mantle of leadership is moved from over Saul to David. David is the one heaven is listening to. You cannot speak negative. When Goliath challenged Israel and Saul was speaking negative, that you cannot make it, David was speaking positive. Be careful with your statements, because the cosmos is waiting to act on your statement. The statement that were made in Buchanan is not a good statement. Even CDC, we're not hoping that the end. If the CDC move from there and they get good leader, capable leader in the future, they will come back to continue to where you must have stopped in the future. This government now, this CDC government that is not able to protect the people must go. But if they will not, they should not come to an end. Liberia cannot come to an end by anyone trying to rig election or do the wrong thing. The Liberian people have the power, they have the will to fight for themselves. They will not use gun. They have used their decisions, and they can pressure any irregularity in this election. Please, if that was a mistake, you need to revoke it from the cosmos. You need to come publicly and clarify that statement, because the mantle of leadership is on you, and the environment, prison politics, the atmosphere, the cosmos will be listening to you to work on your word. Please be guarded and speak positive.
I know you're closing. I know you're closing, but do you
God
think
bless you?
Do you think he needs
God
to
bless you.
apologize?
Come again?
I said, I know you're closing, but do you think he needs to apologize given the seriousness
He
of
just needs to rectify. He just needs to rectify the statement. He needs to come up and say, because he hurt himself. So you just heal yourself, and the way to heal yourself is to come and say, well, Liberia will not end. No matter what happened, Liberia will continue. So he can choose to say, I'm sorry. He can choose any way to do it. But the right thing to do is to come and undo that word from the cosmos. Just how I'm undoing the word. CDC refused to.
Why would you advise, as a supporter of Mr. Boakai, that he should not only retract the statement, he should not only clarify it, but also apologize for people who may be disappointed that he said something like that, given his experience?
Well, apologies are different. They are various. Those things, in fact, we don't. He could say it. He can say it. He can come and say, declare war, I am sorry. He can also come and only say, Liberia will not end. Liberia will continue, even if somebody tried to do corruption. I personally would say, I am sorry. I did not mean that. I was frustrated. I am sorry. That's what I would say. But look,
Evangelist, I expected you to come forth, right? Because here's the thing. You have done things in the past that you regret, you're not proud of, right? And those things you apologize. So something this small, it should not be anything for you to say, I think he needs to apologize. If I can apologize for something that I've done, this is nothing you should apologize.
I'm telling you that it is not as important. Apologies is not as important that when I ask the president, when I made my statement that the president should distance himself from the casket that were carried. And he came out and said they should not do it. He didn't force to say Asari. Then I came up to say he should distance himself from the pronouncement of the people who said they want Kush in his rally. And he did not say it. If he had said it, I wouldn't have come this open. I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't come confronting the way I am confronting. I would have still remained in the back. Yeah. So I'm saying if the old man come up and say, I am sorry, it's a good thing. But that is not my focus. That's not what the environment wants. That's not what is effective. The most effective one, he should come and say, Liberia will not end. Whether he will say, I'm sorry, or he say, it's sweet for you, Liberia will not end. It's no, that is, but I will say, I am sorry. I did not mean that. It's out of pressure and frustration, the way things going. That's what I would say. But for the gospel to work in his favor or in the favor of Liberia, he wouldn't need to take up that statement and put the positive one. So he could say, I'm sorry and faith. So thank you for having me, and thank you, Liberia. I wish Focus on Liberia will give me even 30 minutes that I will show what I'm doing, what I have been doing, how far we have come, how I'm taking the mission from 50, from the hostage of 50, it is now 103, and I'm building new buildings to take it to 300 people, and the different skills we're giving them, interview some of the students and things, and all those things I'm doing. I wish any of the lead print or any media will come and carry me live one day. You are invited to my home. God bless you.
We will look into that seriously. The good thing is that I am the head of operations here. We will look into that. I will talk to our CEO. We will look into that. These are things we love to do. It shouldn't be difficult for us. So it's good that we have your contact. We will look into that and see if we can work with you to show the work that you are doing. Great work, by the way. Thank you, and thank you for coming. Folks, in cyberspace, this is how we'll come to the end of this interview with the man evangelist Joshua Meton Blahyi Boakai, now the rescue soldier who has endorsed Joseph Boakai for president. Thank you for coming. Folks, we don't close any of our broadcasts here without playing the song, We Are All Liberians. No matter who you support, we are all Liberians. Thank you for watching. We see you around, and bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. USA, all we want. Liberia, USA, all we want. Liberia, Liberia.